What's going on, people? It's SGZ here from the SpartanGameZone, and in this video I'll be showcasing my level 72 Spellcaster FL4K Build, which can take on anything in the game without you having to fire a single bullet. Savasar and step aside, there's a new Archmage in Winterhold. This build is not just incredibly powerful but extremely fun, providing a completely fresh playstyle that you won't find anywhere else. I'll be letting you know what skills you'll want to spec into and the gear you'll need to make that happen. If you enjoyed the video, enjoyed the build, then I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like, and feel free to subscribe or follow me on Twitter, and let's crack into it. So this build focuses on using all the tools of the trade to deal some damage. We're pulling out all the stops, we're gonna slam, throw grenades, command our pet, send forth some rack, whatever it takes. This is a build that doesn't use up any ammo, no shootings required. It's time for a new age, an age where triggers are no more. We've moved on up to the next level of damage dealing. You will go down from time to time, but you'll get straight back up while being more powerful for it. It is gear specific however, but not everything is important. It has 4 parts that combine to make an incredible whole, but you can get away with having just one of them. How's that possible? We'll get to that soon, but we'll start with the skill trees. As we move on through, our main goal is to boost our pet's damage and get far enough down so we can power up our loader bot, gamma burst and rack attack. Because we're a wizard, we'll be avoiding skills that purely benefit weapons, but sometimes that isn't possible, and you can find a save file of this build linked in the description. You'll also see me use fadeaway at times, which is purely to proc our action skill start anointment while showcasing some gear. But if you want to be cool, then feel free to use it. Beginning in the purple tree, we grab Gotta Go Fast, which boosts both our pet damage and movement speed. Agility training gives us and our pet increased reload speed, which does nothing for us but helps our pet load that shotgun. Better Toys helps to improve our pet and our own shield, which is all we'll have in this build. Throat Ripper grants our pet the chance to hit crits, which when landed do some serious damage. Take This as a must, giving our pet a copy of our shield, which we can do some crazy things with. Monkey Do massively increases our pet's critical hit damage while giving us bonus weapon damage after they land one, which if you're a true mage, you won't be experiencing. Lastly, we put 1 into Fuzzy Math to help with survivability for both our pet and Flat, refilling their shields when our loader bot hits a weak point. Onto the blue tree, and we put the full stock in Ferocity and Go for the Eyes to massively boost our pet's regular and critical hit damage. We put 4 in Frenzy, which grants both our pet and ourselves extra damage for a few seconds after our pet shoots someone. He Bites basically enchants our pet's armor with thorns, causing the attacker to be seriously injured and combining perfectly with the faulty star. Psycho Head on the Stick provides our pet with damage and movement speed buffs after we kill someone and will constantly be active. Hive Mind is another that will be constantly triggered because this mage ain't taking a step back. That's good though, increasing our survivability and pet's damage once again. We then round off the tree with Pack Tactics, which again is shared with our pet, boosting damage and health. We are now with the orange tree, picking up the entire stack of Interplanetary Stalker, which is a hunter kill skill that provides us with a multitude of bonuses and stacks up to 3 times. Hunter's Eye is great, giving us 3 nice effects. Hit count isn't going to proc much considering we're not shooting, but it still will, and it helps a little with rack attack spam and gamma burst cooldown. Two Fang does literally nothing, we need to put 2 points somewhere, and this is the best place. We put 2 into Big Game to increase the effects and duration of our various hunter kill skills. And then we grab all we can in the most dangerous game, which procs a lot and grants a number of different buffs, with pet damage and critical hit damage being the most effective. That then allows us to spec fully into Grim Harvest, which is what we're here for, greatly increasing our action skill damage while increasing our pet damage as well. That then allows us to pick up the augments we want. Flock and Load increases the damage from rack attack by sending out a whole 2 new rack, and Rack Celebrate greatly increases our ability to spam it. With regards to Gamma Burst, we want to be using Atomic Aroma so our pet constantly damages any enemies that are nearby, and depending if you want to boost your damage or your pets, you can go with Empathic Rage or Endurance, with Endurance being the safer bet. With regards to pets, I found that Warloader was best overall. Onto the gear now, and these items are your weapons, providing slam bonuses, stat boosts, and just overall massively raising the power of this build. We start with the most important piece, or at least the piece that makes the biggest impact, and that's the Guardian Angel. You can obtain one through the Fallen Heroes Vault card as part of the Director's Cut. It increases your damage the further you are from your enemies, capping at 4 times, and it'll boost every single source of damage for this build. There's a lot, so that's a lot of damage. I wouldn't even say you need to be conscious of your proximity to enemies. There's so much ordnance here that something will be hitting from a distance, something will be hitting its cap, so just go for it. If you're looking for other wands, the Unforgiven and Psycho Stabber will both increase the damage of this build. The Unforgiven increases your critical hit damage by up to 432%, and the Psycho Stabber will increase your melee damage by 340%. Whatever wand you're wielding, you'll want it with a URAD anointment, granting 100% bonus radiation damage while you're under 50% health. To activate that anointment 24/7, we'll be using the Deathless artifact, which has an increased chance to drop from the fiery bird they call Phoenix you fight up here in the Splinterlands. The Deathless artifact reserves our health at 1 while also buffing our shield, which is perfect for this build, but we're not just using any Deathless. We're using a Spark Plug Deathless, and if you're after the best rolls, area of effect damage, melee damage, and action skill cooldown rate are great. With this artifact, each time you slam, you'll plant an electrified coil on the ground that'll zap nearby enemies with some high voltage. Normally you'll need to be above peak jump height to do that, but with the Guardian perk Come On and Slam, you'll be able to do it at any height, allowing you to plant coils like the flags on the moon. Not only that, but if you've got the Groundbreaker Guardian rank too, slams will trigger massive aftershocks, dealing 10% of all non-melee damage dealt over the last 10 seconds. Combine that with the ability to slam constantly and you'll go entire mobbing runs just slamming. I'm not kidding. In general, the Guardian Angel will boost its damage the most, even though you'll be slamming in close proximity, but for peak damage you'll want the Unforgiven equipped, which will have it melt bosses whenever chains land on those critical spots. One great mod for this build is the Peregrine class mod, obtained through the Psycho Craig DLC, with an increased chance to drop from Dr. Benedict. You fight around here in the Benediction of Pain. Because we're a wizard, Harry, we're going to be dealing damage safely from a distance, and there's no better mod to couple with that than this. It gives our rack the ability to conjure our grenade, having them drop deadly payloads on your enemies whenever they dive bomb, although it does have a short cooldown. Its best rolls include as much as you can get in Interplanetary Stalker, with its best passive being the same as for the artifact. It's a mod that synergizes perfectly with the Guardian Angel, as our rack will be dropping grenades off in the distance, becoming supercharged by its effect, and there's a couple of key grenades I'd recommend. The first is the Ghast Call, an unanointable grenade that can only be obtained from the Bloody Harvest event that can be activated at any time from the main menu. The Vindicated Ghast Call is by far and away the best, doubling its grenade count and boosting its damage by 20%. It can only ever come in corrosive and summons a portal to the underworld on impact. From that portal, countless green ghouls will emerge and hunt down your foes, dealing incredible damage. It's the perfect grenade for this build. Not only is its damage window insanely long and powerful, but it's done from a distance and without any guidance from you. Just send forth your rack or chuck down some grenades and get to slamming again, and the arena will be wiped out in no time. The other grenade I'd recommend for Spellcaster Flak is the Fish Slap, which, like the Ghast Call, is tied to an event. This time it's the Cartels, with it having an increased chance to drop from both Fish Slap and Tyrone Smallums, as well as Joey Ultraviolet. The Fish Slap is a grenade that deals your melee damage. It's blessed with the Punchy, and because of that it is the most powerful one-shot grenade in the entire game. For maximum damage you want one with double Reuter parts, but even a subpar Fish Slap will get the job done. It's pretty funny to think that your rack are dropping fish on people, but they are, and they're causing mountains of damage as they do so. The Psycho Stabber is the #1 thing you want to increase its power, and melee rolls on your class mod and artifact will help too. However, the Guardian Angel will perform better for this build overall, and the Fish Slap is powerful enough as it is. If you're tired of sending ghosts after people, then slap them with a fish. Either way, they're gonna die. The number one shield I suggest for this build is the Revolter, which is obtained as part of the director's cut by defeating Sumo, who you fight around here in Escatan Row. The reason we're using the Revolter is to tap into its 200% shock damage whenever our shield breaks. You might be thinking, but what of that 1 HP? Well, that's where the action skill Start Anointment comes in, allowing us to proc that shock damage boost without going down. It essentially increases the damage of everything we do. Grenades, rack attack, our loader bot has it too. It's just shockingly good value. For parts I suggest Turtle if you can, since we have no health anyway, and it'll just increase our survivability. In saying that, this is a build where you should expect to go down. Flak's not used to feeling pain, being a robot and all, so he struggles to stay up, but with all our damage sources, we'll get a second wind in no time. Another perfect shield for this build is the Faulty Star, a Nova shield with an increased chance to drop from Locomombius around here in Sapphire's run as part of the Psycho Krieg DLC. The Faulty Star is used mainly to benefit our pet. It causes Novas to erupt from attacking enemies, which will have them blow apart whenever they attack our loader bot. It's so powerful thanks to Mayhem scaling, and when combined with He Bites, the return damage will be immense. Combining perfectly with the Faulty Star is the Red Fang, a base game class mod dropping from Tyrant of the Instinct from the trial of the same name. The Red Fang causes our pet to taunt all surrounding enemies when Gamma Burst is active, having them become the sole focus. That then feeds the Faulty Star, causing way more Novas than normal. It also spawns with 3 great passive, but Ferocity is the best one, increasing the damage of our pet by a long way. Overall, when you combine everything that Spellcaster FL4K has to offer, there's literally nothing that'll stand in your way. Just using one aspect, training from a single magic school will be enough to get the job done, but when you bring all that knowledge together, you'll be summoning a storm that'll be heard throughout all the 9 holds. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, learned about Spellcaster FL4K, and can use it to wreak some serious havoc. If you did, consider dropping a like or subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Magic is a true power, not something to be shunned by commoners, or treated as an amusing diversion by politicians. It shapes worlds, creates and destroys life. It deserves proper respect and study. The college is a place where we can focus on that, without the pressures of the world weighing down on us.